Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is still rejecting from this area of resistance as the price of Bitcoin is technically still playing out the shorter term bullish divergence, and we are also still seeing a significant amount of liquidity continue to build above the price of Bitcoin, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside the price of Solana, which is still struggling around this major area on the price chart, while the price of XRP is starting to struggle around this important line on the price chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and over the last 1 day, nothing's really changed on this chart because the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red. So once again, not much has changed over the last 1 day, and the same can be said about this chart right here. As I've said in recent videos here on the channel, we're starting to slow down and in fact now decline in the amount of bearish momentum that we're seeing. In other words, potentially the worst is already behind us for this bearish movement, but we might not necessarily see a bullish crossover and more bullish momentum until at least a few weeks from now. And so once again, not much has changed on this chart over the last 1 day. So if you're new to the channel, check out my last couple of videos here on the channel if you want to know more about this chart. So getting straight into this weekly Bitcoin chart, and at least for now, we still have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI, telling us to not expect any significant bullish momentum anytime soon. And obviously I've been saying that pretty much every day since near the beginning of this year, close to all-time highs, and so far that's been playing out perfectly. And so once again, not a lot has changed on these larger time frames over the last 1 day. So getting straight into the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, and obviously here in the short term over the last 1 day, we've seen another perfect rejection from this area of resistance that I've been warning about over and over again here on the channel, sitting in between around 86,000 to 88,000. And so once again, as I've said many times recently here on the channel over the last few weeks or so, I've been saying expect a lot of resistance, expect the price of Bitcoin to struggle from within 86 to 88,000, and so far that's exactly playing out as I've been talking about. And so obviously that area of resistance has not changed over the last 1 day, and as for other points of support and resistance, at least on this chart right here, first of all, we have major support at close to 78,000 and also at close to 74,000, and if we finally see a confirmed breakout back above around 88,000 with a confirmed breakout, so confirmed candle closes above 88,000, in that situation I'll be targeting around 92,000 as another point of resistance, and also around 96 to 97,000 as another significant point of resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last few days we saw that bullish breakout above this descending line of resistance, and obviously ever since we saw that breakout, we've been lacking momentum here in the short term, which is also something that I've mentioned here on the channel over and over again, once again, especially based on this larger time frame right here, telling us to not expect any significant bullish momentum anytime soon. So yes, we can see some short-term bullish moves like this bullish relief here and just a small little breakout here, but don't necessarily expect a massive high momentum movement towards the upside. And obviously, even though we've broken out above this descending line of resistance, which is technically a bullish signal, we still have those other points of resistance that we cannot ignore where the price is still struggling at. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now we still have the active bullish divergence on the daily time frame, telling us at least in the short term for the next few days, possibly over the next week, that sort of time frame, we're most likely going to see a continued break or a relief from all of the bearish price action here. In other words, a bit of choppy sideways price action or perhaps a slight bullish relief continuing. But remember, as the price runs into this resistance, expect the price to struggle around here. And if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on 2bit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 in trading rewards or if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can get a $30 sign up bonus just by using that link below this video to make your account, and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus. And on top of all of that, if you use the link below this video to 2bit, you're automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees. You get lowered trading fees over on 2bit, but remember, only if you use the link below this video. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video as well. And in case you're wondering, if you use that link below this video to Bitfinex, you can indeed get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on Bitfinex forever, which is a massive discount on trading fees, and that's a lifetime discount, but only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and obviously over the last one day, we saw a slight little bullish move towards the upside to start wiping out some of this liquidity that I've talked about over the last couple of days here. And so first of all, just a few days ago, we had liquidity sitting at close towards around 85,000, and then we just wiped out that liquidity, saw a little bit of a pullback, and then as we started to build more liquidity at just above 86,000, we basically pushed a little bit higher to wipe out that liquidity, and that's exactly what happened over the last one day. But at least as of recording this video, we still have liquidity just above the current price, sitting at roughly around 86,500 to 87,000. So in the high 86k area, we still have a decent amount of liquidity, hundreds of millions of dollars potentially of short positions that could get liquidated if the price actually crosses above that area. And so at least based on this chart right here, this is still telling us that there's a high probability, not always a guarantee. Once again, there's no such thing as a guarantee, but there's a high chance that the price will likely come back up to actually take out this liquidity. Once again, at just above 86,000, around 86,500, give or take. But also don't forget, we still have a lot of resistance in between 86 to 88,000. So we may end up seeing another little push up into this resistance, but then the price may still struggle around here. And so overall, that's what I'm expecting here in the somewhat shorter term. Once again, not much has changed over the last one day. So getting straight into Ethereum on the weekly time frame. And right now, Ethereum is technically still within a larger bear market. There's really no other way of putting this, but at least in the shorter term, obviously we are currently bouncing and seeing a slight relief from this major area of support sitting in between around 1.4k to 1550. So roughly around 1,500, give or take, we currently have a lot of support around there. And honestly, just pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin continues a slight bullish relief, expect something similar for Ethereum. But ultimately, if Bitcoin, for example, sees a major rejection from this resistance, in that case, of course, that would also be bearish for Ethereum. And overall, whatever happens here in the short term, whether we see a little bit more of a bullish relief or another dump, either way, we are still within a long-term bear market. And so ultimately, not a lot has changed for Ethereum over the last one day. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the weekly time frame. And right now, the price of Solana is still somewhat struggling around this previous area of support, currently acting as short-term resistance, and that's sitting in between around 120 to 130. And obviously, just in the short term, over the last few days or so, we have seen temporary moves above 130, but so far, those have just been candle wicks towards the upside, and we've not actually confirmed candle closes here on the weekly time frame back above 130 over the last few weeks. And so this means that at least for now, obviously, we are still struggling around this area. So continue to expect a lot of short-term resistance at roughly 130, give or take. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, obviously on the daily time frame, we still have an active bullish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still actively playing out right now, as I've been saying for almost 1 week now, and so far has been playing out perfectly. And so ultimately, just simply continue to expect the bullish divergence to play out at least in the short term once again for the next few days, most likely potentially up to another week, give or take, that sort of time frame. Either a bit of choppy sideways price action like what we've seen over the last couple of days here, or perhaps another little bit of a bullish relief perhaps in the next few days as the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. But overall, I'd not expect a significant significant amount of bullish momentum straight towards the upside like that. Once again, most likely just a slight bullish relief if we do end up seeing bullish price action. And as for short-term resistance to watch out for, we still have a lot of resistance at around 135 to 136, as I've mentioned recently here on the channel before we rejected from this level just recently. And we also have a lot of resistance at around $145 approximately. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, right now XRP is technically still playing out the larger bearish divergence, as I warned about months ago now on the channel, telling you we're most likely going to see basically a lack of bullish momentum over the next few weeks or months as the most likely scenario. And obviously over the last few months, that's exactly played out as I've been expecting. But if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, and in recent videos here on the channel, I've been looking at this chart, but on the 12-hour time frame, it's basically telling the same story. And right now we're still within a bearish trend, a descending parallel channel. And right now the support line for the descending parallel channel is sitting at approximately $1.74, and the resistance line is sitting at approximately $2.60, give or take, and the center line is currently sitting at around $2.13. And we could see that at least in the short term, the price of XRP is simply concentrating around the center line. Basically, if the price is below the center line, we're finding a lot of resistance at this level, and if the price is slightly above the center line, we're finding support around this level. In other words, the price is basically getting drawn towards the center line, at least in the short term here. And so just keep that in mind. It is likely that we'll kind of just hang around this center line for a little while longer. So once again, at give or take $2.13. And overall, just pay attention to what Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market's doing. Once again, if Bitcoin is simply just playing out this relatively boring price action, chopping around sideways in the short term, we'll likely see something very similar for XRP, as we've seen over the last couple of days. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously right now Chainlink is technically still playing out the bullish divergence. At least for now, we've not invalidated this bullish divergence. So right now we're still most likely going to see a bit of choppy sideways price action, or perhaps another slight little bullish relief in the short term, in the next few days or the next week, give or take. But obviously, at least in the short term, we're still finding a lot of resistance in the high $12 area, basically just below $13, and in fact very close to $13. We have a lot of resistance around there, mainly based on this previous Fibonacci level of support acting as new resistance. But if we see a further breakout here and actually hold above $13 as support, in that situation we have significant resistance at closer towards around $15, mainly in between around $14.90 to $15.50, and we could also find a small amount of resistance at around $14.10 approximately. But once again, as I've been saying for many months now on the channel, since much higher prices all the way back here, technically the price of Chainlink is still within a larger bearish trend, despite seeing short-term bullish reliefs along the way towards the downside. So keep that in mind in the immediate short term for the next few days, the next week, that sort of time frame. Expect the bullish divergence to technically still playing out, considering at least for now it is still technically active, but that's just the shorter term during a larger bearish trend. So just keep that in mind. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.